So I have hella cool friends. And I said, I need to start a series called My Friends Are Hella Cool. And so that is exactly what I did. And I'm so excited because my first guest is no other than Miss Charity Bailey. Charity Bailey. That's my girl. This is my girl right here. You guys don't understand. This is an amazing woman, and I know all about her. But what I want her to do right now is to introduce herself, because I'm all about giving yourself flowers. We don't talk to ourselves enough about the accomplishments that we do, or pat ourselves on the back, or give ourselves enough of the applause that we should. And so I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
You're right, Alicia. We do not give ourselves enough pat on the back. I'm learning now that sometimes I'll sit and go, you've done this, you've done this, you've checked, wait, oh, wow. So I think we're so busy comparing ourselves, even though we say like, don't compare and this and that, like there's still something in us that goes, I haven't done enough, right?
Absolutely.
So who am I? I am an amazing woman. Sister, friend, daughter, community member, and television host. I host a television show called Right This Minute. You can catch it on your local stations throughout the U.S. Navigating this career path in the television and entertainment industry has been a long one. So I'm also a survivor. I'm a fighter. I'm an underdog. Let's do it. You feel me?
Talk about it. I was just going to say, we have so many journeys in our life. We literally are continually growing. Our lives are continually changing. And actually, when we met, we were both in the middle of crazy journeys.
Child.
Listen.
Let's talk about how we met. Okay, I'll start. So 2011, I got laid off as a reporter for the CBS and NBC affiliate in Chico in 2008. And then I got a job after not being able to find work for hella long, I landed a job at United Healthcare with the deep, like customer service in my ear. And I was just miserable. Now, I was an intern for the Los Angeles Clippers back in the day. And so the Clippers were hosting, or should I say the All-Star Weekend was back in LA again. And my mentor turned big sister, Tanisha, was like, you know what, you just need to get back here where you started, get back with the people who love you. Basically put your feet back down in this soil, and kind of get fertilized again,
Amen.
And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't have nothing else going on, sure. And I was just really in a dark, hopeless place. Like overqualified for everything, couldn't get back into the television industry as a journalist because we were in a recession. It was just bad. And so I get there and Staples Center is home for me. Like, I mean, I spent like 5 years there. You could probably put me in Staples Center blindfolded and I can get out like that. You feel
Same
me?
With me in Oracle.
Yeah, like I was an intern. I know all the ins and outs. So we get there and there's like all of these other interns or like staff help, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so great and everything's so great, and I know so-and-so plays golf with my dad, and I'm like, this is my house.
Right. I've been here. I've
just been gone for a minute. You young bucks don't even want this with me. Anyway, I just kind of stayed to myself. Long story short, you were there, and I was like, oh.
You see how she looked up, y'all? You see how she looked up? She looked up to the gods right there.
Because I was looking at a goddess. Come on now.
Oh, talk about
yes. And also, y'all don't know this, but my sisters are tall. I'm the short one in my family at 5'7.5", and I do claim my half because my doctor and my surgeon just told me that I had a half. So respect
as
my half.
You should.
But they're 5'10" and 6 feet. So I looked up and I was like, oh, okay. And then you sat down and I was like, okay. Like, I was like, hi, I'm Charity. And you're like, I'm Alicia Jay. And then we got to talking. And then you're like, well, what are you doing after this? Or no, we didn't kick it afterwards, but we hung out the whole time because I was staying with a friend. And then the next day I was like, where's Alicia? Where's Alicia? And then we just spent the weekend together.
Yep.
And I found out you were living in Oakland. And that ended up being my next stop in life.
And we had like a really deep conversation for just meeting each other because I was relatively new to my career. And I was all bushy-eyed and bright and all this and all excited about it. And we talked about your journey and where you were at and what you wanted to do. And I said, girl, if you don't just come to Oakland, if you don't just do it.
I was real vulnerable with you. I really was. And the thing is, I think that space in life, right? It brought me to just vulnerability. Like I was at rock bottom. Like rock bottom. I don't think anybody understands, and this could be some ego and pride that needed to be crushed, but what it's like to lose your career, not be hireable when you've I worked for the Pac-10, I worked at Best Damn Sports Show, period. I was like interning. I was sports information department intern at UCLA. I had the Clippers under my belt. I finally landed my first job. I had done sports reporting. I've been all over the place, right? I do say now though, that I understand why God had to take me through that, because also it's made me a better storyteller. And it's made me more empathetic to people as I'm telling their stories and when I meet people, and just also like more understanding. But at the time, I was just so vulnerable and raw. And I was like, I don't know what's next. And I don't know what I'm doing. And I met some of those students and some of the people there in the press room. And they were like, oh, yeah, we go to USF for the sports management program, yada, yada, yada. And by the end of the weekend and talking to you and talking to Tanisha and some of the other people that I had worked with in the past that I had reconnected with, they were like, do not give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. You're okay. You're not dead in the water. And you're right. You were one of the people that was like, keep in touch with me. Just moved to the Bay, moved to Oakland. And my sister lived there in Berkeley. And I was like, And I say to this day, Oakland changed my life. Like straight up.
I always tell people, Portland raised me, but Oakland made me who I am.
Yes.
It's the truth.
Yep.
Hence the hella in the title.
You feel me?
Okay.
And I often say, Sac raised me, Oakland laced me. You know, because also like Sac is just up the street. But it was just I was hopeless. I was in a pit, you know. I was in a pit because I decided to move to Oakland. I remember my dad was like, hell, you gonna move to one of the most expensive cities in the world with a temp job that paid $14.25. So I packed up my stuff. My sisters helped me in a U-Haul. We unpacked at my little apartment. But when I got there, I lived with my baby sister for 2 weeks, with her and her roommates. The roles changed. Again, it was an humbling space in life, right? The roles change. I'm the big sister. I'm typically taking care of everybody, you know, and now my sisters be like, put your wallet away. But it's just, you know, that's just my nature because I'm the big sister. But they took care of me every step of the way. Again, I lived in Libby's room with her for 2 weeks. We found my apartment and didn't have the credit to get it done. My dad was like, don't worry, I'll do it. Like, what you don't know is this happened to me once. I was like, why didn't you tell me this before? I'm over here beating myself up, feeling like a failure. You had to just tell me I'm not the only one.
And what's so crazy is I'm literally sitting in that apartment right now.
I know. I love our apartment.
I know. It is our apartment. We won't tell that story on here. I'm on this lease.
Yes. Ow.
Still on it. Rent controlled.
Hey. And they so mad about it.
Oh, they are so mad.
These developers, they so mad. They just do not want us to be great in the town, but it's okay.
And they're going to stay mad because I'm going to be here till I'm not here anymore. Okay, I'll make all the renovations myself.
Their renovations are trash too, by the way, so it doesn't matter. So. They just be making stuff up, adding stuff. And you're
like, no, girl, I put my own blinds up. I'm about to paint. Like, I'm not letting them come in here and touch nothing, okay? If they come in here and put one thing up, they're going to talk about 800 more. Nope.
Right.
Not today or tomorrow. No, I'll be back in Beaverton, Oregon with my mama.
Right. But that place was such a blessing, though. It was, I always say I miss my little apartment, you know, and I've moved on, but it was so special.
It's special to me too, friend, because
I know
I'm starting over. I'm very much in the place that you were when we were at All-Star. And your path and your journey to get to where you are has completely inspired me on every level while I'm doing this. And I'm sitting here creating all the things that I am in this apartment. The only reason why I have been able to stay in the Bay is because of this rent-controlled apartment. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't, like, I would literally be in Beaverton. And so your path on so many levels has inspired me. And just think about if you had given up in Chico.
Listen, I was dead in the water in Chico. I'm not playing. I remember telling my family, I was like, I have to move because I'm losing hope.
Mm.
And here's the thing, I'm a little hood kid. I grew up in Sacramento in a community called Del Paso Heights. They used to call it the deepest part of hell. They didn't give a damn about us, right?
Mm.
My family moved from, or should I say my dad, my mother's from Tyler, Texas, but she was an Army brat. So she went to high school, junior high in Spain and France, and then she came back. My dad and his family moved from Mississippi, and he was a teenager, and they built 5 homes on our block. So you want to talk about the Great Migration, and then white flight, and then the war on drugs, the war on us, really, let's keep it a buck. And like watching the neighborhood change, and fighting for everything, every single thing, that we had being reported improperly on the news, shootings, burying friends, all the stuff. And like, I always tell people, hood kids make the world go around. We got grit and grind like nobody else, right?
Talk about it.
At that point in my life, I was like, I gotta dig deep because you made it out. You've accomplished all of the things that you wanted. And at every single turn, like I'm saying racist GMs, too black, too fat, too this, too that. You know what I mean? Critiquing everything I do and say and yada, 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 knowing that like we create the culture. So it's ghetto when I do it. But when, so-and-so does it, it's cute. She's hip. No. And so I found myself in this space where I was like, I fought every down to get where I'm at. And now I'm here and I can't win. And so we talking about that 2 years, I lost everything. Again, keeping it 100. When I got this job and right this minute, my credit was like just under 500. Like it was bad. Like by the grace of God, I got apartments in Charlotte when I moved there. My daddy put his name on that apartment. Like honestly, when you move, they might send the deposit check in his name. So he gonna be like, give me my money.
And I wouldn't be mad. I'd be like, here you go, Dad. Like,
here, Mr. Bailey.
Here you go. You can have it. You can have it because you're the reason why I'm here. You can have it.
Like, oh man. But seriously, it was just like I just lost hope. And I told my family, I'm like, listen, President Obama had the book, The Audacity of Hope. And it's like, you take hope from people, you can squash them. Because it's the hope that keeps you going. Like if I just get over this hurdle, if I just get over the next hurdle. But I lost everything. Couldn't find a job, had to apply for food stamps. Unemployment ran out a few times. President Obama like extended it. But still, it was like just enough to pay rent and like keep my cell phone on. A few times my uncle paid my car note. Like, I was just like, what am I doing? Then my other uncle died by suicide. Every job interview I went to, they was playing me, took my plans and then didn't hire me. It was just crazy. And I was like, if I don't breathe new air and get out of this place that is suffocating the life out of me. Because I also was like, God, I don't know where you at. I don't see you. I don't feel you. And like, I'm going to be honest, I was mad with God. I'm like, I worked in the NBA. NFL players used to be popping at me left and right. And I stayed true to the game, right? Yep. Like, my players used to call me church girl because I was a virgin when I was working in the NBA. Like, I did everything right.
Listen, Charity,
right.
You preaching to the choir over here.
I know. I was like, I did everything right. I didn't drink until I was like, well, I mean, I drank here and there, but I'm saying, now since it's a lush, whatever. But I'm like, I did everything right. It didn't seem fair. And I was like, and on top of all that, God, I profess your name. Like, I let people know that I'm a Christian.
Yes.
I love God. And I ain't perfect. I see you be out here sometime now. But back then, I was like, by the book, like it's a reason they call me church girl. I would be at the parties like, we have to go because you have an 8 a.m. in the morning.
Well, they were telling me that I was the female AC Green. I said, who said that?
On that note,
I couldn't argue. Yeah, just exactly. I understand where you are coming from 100%. Over these last 2 years since I resigned from my job, I resigned because number one, God told me to. Mm-hmm. Number two, don't get emotional. I had to respect myself and stand up for myself. The environment was not conducive to the amazing person that I am. And I knew that I was made for more. But for the last 2 years, I've been in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in that wilderness. Everything that you're saying, I can relate to, and I could almost copy verbatim. I see amazing things that God is doing, but I still do get mad because I do honor you, Lord. Like, I say your name all the time, and you told me to do this, and I'm out here. So I understand exactly what you're saying, but what I always tell people is Christianity is not really meant to be easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people equate believing in God as the easy road. Like, well, he's just going to take care of me and like open up everything. And that's not the case. He's actually going to refine you time and time again to be the person that he needs you to be. And that's going to be uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah. God is not Tinkerbell with fairy dust.
He sure ain't. Sometimes I wish he was. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not an easy walk. And life in general is just not easy. But you just gotta tap in and dig in. Again, you know, I know the journey that you took. I actually told you that I felt like we switched roles. Because when I met you, I was looking for a job and I moved to Oakland, you know, got my life popping in the town, started my blog, just had like a great support system of friends. And that's when you were starting your Tall Swag brand and your shirts and all that. And then your dad passed. Fast forward to 2018, and my dad was sick and transitioning. And I remember you called me and you were like, I'm going to do it. I have to do it. When I get home, I'm going to do it. You're in the airport.
Yep.
New
Orleans.
Yeah. And I was
with
like,
my mama.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, you know, God told you to do it. And you were like, I'm scared. I don't know, but I know. And I'm like, yeah. And then you called me when I was trying to get my dad's obituary video done and pulling the pictures. And you were about to get on a plane to go out of the country. And you were like, our roles have changed.
Going back to what we were talking about, when you're talking about being in the wilderness in Chico, I know that that's something that you had to go through to get to where you are now. What was the biggest lesson that you learned during that time that got you to write this minute?
There's so many spaces that got me to write this minute though, right?
I'm talking about the depths. Like, you said you were at your lowest of lows. God had to bring you there.
Yeah.
To get to where you are.
First of all, it taught me what I'm made of. Because see, the thing is, everybody wants greatness. My pastor used to say that. Everybody wants greatness. Don't nobody want to go through the wilderness.
The truth.
Hell, I live in the desert now. And you know what? Even once I got here, I was like, Lord, now I got my dream job and I'm lonely. I learned what I was made of in Chico. Because Chico tried to break me. Or should I say that chapter in Chico. And the crazy thing is, though, is I made some of my best friends there in Chico, though, too. Also, as a young person, we think that it's over. It ain't over till it's over. And my daddy used to say, I often talk about the fact that my dad taught me life through football and boxing. And he'd always say 9 yards at a time, like just keep moving the chains. And he'd say, you still got time on the clock. But we have these preconceived notions that we're supposed to be top notch by 25, by 30. And now at 39, I'm like, you know? So here I am going through this quarter life crisis. I thought I was my job because I'm Charity Bailey and I'm a journalist. I learned that I'm not my job, that I'm not any of those things. That's why you heard, and I didn't even think about it until just now when you asked me who I am. Television host is last.
Absolutely.
Because should that go tomorrow, I don't want it to go tomorrow. I appreciate my job and I love that we're going into season 10, but I'm saying, should it go tomorrow? That is not who I am. But I wouldn't know that had I not gone through the Chico phase in my life.
Absolutely.
Again, you find out what you're made of. We got the Oakland phase. That's the phase where you go, all right, God, I'm gonna throw this thing up. You know, we can go to alley-oop way or we can go to Hail Mary way. However you want to go. Like, I just need you to bring it down. We got to score because I've tried my way. It's not working. I'm losing hope. I'm at rock bottom. What I learned is that when you're at rock bottom, you don't have nowhere to go but up. And I know that that's so cliche and blah, 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 but it is so true. At that point in my life, I was like, what else do I have to, if I stay here, and I don't think I've voiced this to many people, if I stay here, I'm going to die, is what I felt in Chico. And so what do I have to lose? I
Absolutely.
have nothing else to lose. I done lost my job. I done lost my credit. I can't find a new job. I'm unhappy. What do I have to lose? I was like, all right, put it up. He gonna bring it down. And like, again, Oakland was just that chapter. And so when the job in Charlotte came, it was another one of those like, well, we'll see what happens.
Let's back it up just a little bit. What were you doing in Oakland right before you got the Charlotte job?
I was gonna say nothing. No, I'm just waiting. Running these streets. I had so much fun in Oakland. So Oakland was interesting because I came there with a tip job, another tip job, then back to unemployment and food stamps. And then I landed a job at Verizon.
Yes.
And I was working in retail. And then a position opened up for me to do one of the transitional jobs because one of my now dear friends and colleagues was on maternity leave. And so what they do is they allow folks from other departments to try it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I have a degree in marketing and PR, and her job was sponsorships and marketing. She took care of NFL, NBA, all the things that I've already done, right? And so they were like, well, create this deck and, you know, yada, yada. There was some folks that knew me and they knew what I was about. And I did a good job in the retail store, even though I was miserable. That's the other thing. That's another lesson.
Say it. I already know what it
is. If you don't
is.
like where you at, do the best job you can do. Make friends and make allies. And I ain't saying make friends for networking, but some of my best friends, again, I think it's so interesting because some of the deepest, darkest places rendered some of the best friends.
But that's really what it's about. You pick up the people that God gives you the people that you need. He gives them to you. The people that leave, you're so busy looking at them because that happens in the desert too. A lot of people get ghost on you and you're like, but you're my friend. And instead of being thankful for the people that God has put in, you're just so fixed on the person that left you. But in reality, like God gives and he takes away, and both of them are blessings.
Yeah.
They are. They are blessings.
And I was blessed in the fact that, because I know it happens to a lot of people and it happened to you where you're not in position anymore where people need you or can use you. And so typically they leave. That was not my story. Like the people who loved me at the Clippers, at KCBS, at KCAL 9, at the different places that I worked at when I lost everything, they stayed in touch. They were still trying to help me. And even if they couldn't help me get a job, they were still calling and checking on me. And they were, even if I can't do for you, you're still my friend.
Now, I've for sure had people like that. I have people like that. But there was a group that definitely just went completely dark, when I left. Or I still have people that think I still work for the team. Which I'm like, I've said it a million times that I don't, but that's cool. And
they don't be paying attention.
Right. And they ask, oh, can you do this or that? And I'm like, well, I actually don't work there anymore. Never hear from me again. Right. And that's totally fine with me because
it's not. It's not fine, people.
No. It's not fine, but it's okay because God is showing me who I need to leave behind. Like, I don't want somebody in my life that's only there to ask me for a favor from a team that I work for.
Take. Yeah.
I don't need people that are going to do that. One of my lessons in the season has been to quickly heal from those situations and thank God for them.
It's interesting too, because we talked about God giving and God taking away. There's also restoration. God restores. So you were talking about the job that I had before I moved to Charlotte. Well, in the midst of working on the marketing team, I get a call. Now, talk about the friends in all the different spaces. Carly. Carly was one of my dear friends from Chico. Carly is from Burlingame. So when I moved to Oakland, Carly was there and the team was there. I met all y'all. I was like, hey, we was out here. Well, at her wedding, one of the former anchors from Good Day Sacramento was there. She saw pictures on Instagram. See, they know this Instagram with reels and stories and all the stuff. Back in the day, Instagram was just pictures.
Right.
And
straight photos.
And so she would see the pictures of me hanging out with y'all and at the different events in Oakland. And I guess she asked Carly, like, who is that? Because she looks like a lot of fun. Now, pause. In 2008, when I got laid off, I went to work freelance for a little bit and I was trying to get on in Sacramento. And they told me I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough experience, let's be clear. But they were hiring people who didn't have enough experience. Chico was market 123, Sacramento is market 20. And I was a feature reporter who happened to cover a lot of breaking news, because as a feature reporter, you're the first person up in the morning. So you're the first person to the stories, and then you turn them over to the dayside and nightside reporters. That said, Sacramento was like off the market for me. That was when did I try to get in with them? 2008, yes. 2013, 2012. One of those years, child, and all the years then got mangled up now. Oh, it was after a boxing class. Remember, we would go to boxing. She said, I know that you said you're done with television and you don't want, because I was like, I'm done with this. This industry is trash. Like, it dragged me. And she was like, but I might have an opportunity for you because, and she explained. And I'm like, all I have is this tape from 2008. I don't have any new tape. And she's like, they said, just send it. I sent it. It was the same news director that, or should I say, management. So Good Day Sacramento and CBS 13 are a duopoly. So Good Day Sacramento is its own entity, and the other is its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
So Brett, at the time, I've known him since I was in my early 20s too. He called me. He said, "Hey kid, you still got it?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right. Well, if you wanna join us, come join us."
That ain't nothing but God.
I thought they told me I wasn't ready. He said, well, that was on the news side. He said, and also what you should understand is that television has changed so much and social media has changed a lot of it. So before, they wanted us to be more conservative, and Good Day Sacramento's never been conservative. It's always been fun. Good Day Sacramento was launched in 95 when I was a freshman. One of my goals was to be on that show. I loved that show, but they've always been outside the box. Fun. He said, and so now people don't want the in the box people. They want people like you, laugh loud and are candid. The Bible says that your gifts will make way for you.
Amen.
All of the things that I was not in the past, they're looking for now. So I was working marketing Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday I would drive up to Stockton or Sacramento, wherever they had me, and I was grinding. I got that grit and that grind from my daddy, from my family, from my community. I hit a bump in Chico, a long, long, long bump that bruised me. And it's some scarring there that I had to go to therapy and dig through. That's why I never want to take your experience from you, because you will move on. You will do great things in the name of Jesus. But the thing is, you will always remember, and there will still be some people that you like, I don't mess with them because it hurts.
For sure. I mean, I have healed so much. I am not where I was 2 years ago. You know it. You know that I'm not there. And I am thankful for all of the experiences. And I'm excited for what's to come. And I know that I did the right thing. And I'm glad that I am not the person who is going to sit in that uncomfortable comfort for the rest of my life. One thing I wanted to point out is that when we're rejected, right? That's actually more of a blessing than we would ever understand or know.
Yeah. And sometimes it's protection.
It's not denial, it's protection. And it's also often not denial, but a delay. Because God knows how things will align, and they absolutely align for you. So you were at Good Day Sacramento on the weekends, and then you got the job in Charlotte,
which was also another random.
Yeah. So right? How did that happen?
I didn't apply for that job. I did not. We were about to launch the S5 at Verizon. It was storming. I mean, storming so bad that my colleagues who had to go back to Sacramento stopped at hotels that night. And it was April Fool's. And I was at home on my work computer at 10 o'clock after the longest day in life. And I get a ping. Ding. It's Christine Flores. One of the jobs that I got turned down for was a job in Fresno. Christine was the nightside EP. I met with Lisa, the morning EP. They didn't have a news director. So in our world, you have the news director, the GM, the news director, the assistant news director, and the EPs who run each show. Well, they didn't have those. So they were technically in charge. I met with Lisa. She introduced me to Christine for 10 minutes. That's it. Oh, that was 4 or 5 years prior. Ding. What? So I said, hey, she's like, hey, are you still in news, yada, yada. And I was like, no, I work for Verizon and I do Good Day Sacramento on the weekends. And she's like, well, my husband and I moved to Charlotte. I'm the executive producer of a morning show and he's the sports director. and we are looking for a morning reporter. And I think you'd be perfect. And I was like, girl, I done had a long day. I ain't got time for this. Like, are you April fooling me? She was like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, oh. She's like, well, think about it. I said, I need to talk to my family about it. Because again, I had settled in. I thought I was staying in Oakland, child. I started looking into trying to find a place to buy. You know, the little boo was there. My sister was there. You know, it was just the whole thing. Like, I was like, this is home. I don't ever need to move. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to move. Like, because I called my mom, and my mom said, daughter, you're single, you don't have children.
You better go.
Always home. She said, if it doesn't work out, you can just come back home.
God has been doing that to me lately. Mm-hmm. Like, he's literally been, it's like he's almost preparing me for some type of move. Like, I don't know what it is, but I know that I feel that deep down. Yep. And when you got the call, you was gone. Like,
yeah, it was quick. That was April 1st. They were saying May, but then I got them to let me come back in June. But yeah, I remember I put out the text to all of y'all and was like, hey, you know, I don't have a contract and I'm paying for the move. So I want to keep this apartment. Anybody? You was like, boo, outside the group chat. I was like, oh, it's taken. But to your point about, we've been talking about the journey and the people and spaces and places that God puts in our lives. Who knew that this would be your blessing now when you're not working?
Absolutely. And also, you cannot take any moment for granted. You met that woman 4 or 5 years prior to her giving. First of all, you had the same number. Hallelujah. Second, the fact that she literally just thought of you when you had a 5-minute meeting or whatever you said, that ain't nothing but God. Even if you think something wasn't working out or it didn't work out, or like maybe you went to a networking event and you only met one person. Well, that could be your 4 or 5 years later.
Correct. You were correct. And it wasn't like, it was just genuinely, we hit it off and she was like, you'll be great at this. And then I got up and I moved. And again, faith. I cannot stress enough this faith walk, right? And again, just like, all right, Lord, I'm putting it up, bring it down. Because every time I tried God, he answered. Every time I called out, he answered. And then like, not right when I wanted him to, but when it was clutch. I never went without in Oakland, ever. Even when I was unemployed and stuff, I never went without. And then Charlotte came, and typically they pay for you to move and they pay for this and pay. They were like, we're not paying for the move. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. And I was like, you know what? I got the money because I had just paid off everything. I just paid off my car. Again, God knows.
That timing.
Yeah.
That timing.
So I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to take a pay cut, but the rent is less. Go.
And so you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
And I did. And then I got there and it was a show.
This is where I put the beep.
But again, I made some bomb friends, like really great friends. If Charlotte hadn't happened, right this minute doesn't happen because our news director got bounced. So it's, for folks who don't know, television and the entertainment industry is a lot like football, basketball, whatever, professional sports and collegiate sports. Your coach leaves, he takes his team, and your spot might be gone. Because the new guy comes in, or new woman comes in as coach and brings in her staff or his staff, and suddenly maybe you ain't the starter no more, right? And so that's what happened. The new folks came in and they was like, yeah, you know, you to this, to that, the whole thing. You know, I was like, we're doing this again, all over again, anxious at night, can't sleep. You know, I was calling you. It got to a point where I was like, forget it. I can always go home. I'm going to go home. Or moving to Atlanta to do PR because I have a degree in PR and I have experience in marketing and I don't need this. And what did I do? I woke up at 3 a.m. one morning and emailed right this minute on LinkedIn. And I knew from the previous host or the host that was on her way out that they were looking to replace her job or replace her position. And I just shot my shot. People always want this like glorious story. I'm like, listen, I shot my shot.
But that's a glorious story though, because there's so many people, me included at times, and I've learned this. And one of the reasons why we're sitting here right now is I literally was prompted to do a show. It was like, my friends are hella cool. And I hit you like 5 minutes and I said, Charity, can you be on the show? because I can't sit in, well, should I do it or should I not? When you get the word, you get the word.
Mm-hmm.
At 3:00 in the morning, something told you, and I believe it was God, but something told you, hit him on LinkedIn. You did, and you're there now.
They had already moved on in the process. So the next day I'm in a meeting and I looked down at my email and it said, "Hi, this is Phil. I love your tape, love your personality. You have an infectious laugh. So tell me, are you in a contract with the station and do you have an agent?" I said, "I'm a free agent in every sense of the word. I don't have a contract with the station and I don't have an agent." That's the other thing. Agents were like, "Yeah, we don't think we know what to do with you. We're only doing hard news people, yada, yada, yada." Like my agent was, when I found her, like, she was like, "You're great."
Charity, when I tell you an agent won't even look at me with all of the things that I've done, I've been on a national TV show. Like, and I'm not saying that there aren't other people that have the credentials in me, but I know who I am and I know what I was created to be. And nobody's seeing it, but you know who does? God sees it. God is the greatest agent you could ever have in your life.
And my thing is, because it used to really frustrate me, it made me really angry. But then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't want an agent who doesn't see me, doesn't know me, doesn't understand. Because there was one agent in South Carolina that I reached out to, and he happens to be a part of one of the bigger agencies. They just have him working from South Carolina because he represents a lot of athletes. He messaged me back. He said, "Charity, I can't represent you because I don't represent your type." You know, he represents athletes. He said, "But I watch you in the morning. I know when your show launched and I've seen you." He said, "And you're good." He said, "You have an electric personality. You're funny. You're good. I can't represent you, but keep looking."
You know, God was speaking through that man too, to keep you going.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. There's little spaces where God will send people to remind you of who you are, remind you of the promise, remind you of what's to come, right? And so, yeah, they moved on in the process here right this minute, had moved on to 3 people from top cities. And he said, "Well, can you meet with me at like 2:00 your time?" I was like, "I gotta go." I was in the meeting. I was like, "Y'all don't want me here, no way. I gotta go." So I left, showered. My sister was laughing at me like, "You're showering for a Skype interview?" I gotta feel fresh. Shut up.
But for every Skype interview that I do or whatever I'm doing, you gotta get all the way right.
We do our show now on Zoom, and I still be like, shh. Listen, look good, feel good, smell good, feel good, all of it. I talked to him for over an hour. He was like, "You're really great." You know, we vibed, and he was like, because my sister was getting married. This is 2015. He said, "Well, since you're going to be in Oakland, would you mind, or Sacramento, would you mind just hopping over to meet with us instead of going all the way back to Charlotte?" And I was like, "Yes." You got until we were going to Oakland for the wedding on Thursday. He was like, "I'll see you Wednesday."
I remember this like it was yesterday.
Yep. And I did my audition, and I have never said this out loud. I'm going to tell you this. I cried in my audition. Yeah. So I had my audition, and then I went into another executive producer's office, Phil. And we were talking, and he was looking at my resume. He's like, "You have quite the resume, Charity." He's like, "You've been in a lot of places." You know, and I often call my resume a gumbo because it's a bunch of random stuff, but you put it together, season it up, and it goes well together. And he said, "So you've had a lot of ups and downs." He asked me basically how I made it. And it was one of those cries that I didn't see coming, so it just came. So he says, "How have you lasted this long?" or something to that effect. And I went to answer, and the tears just fell out my face, Alicia. I said, "I fought to be me." That was my honest answer. And when I tell you, like, out of nowhere, and now here's the thing, y'all know that I'm a crybaby now, but back then I was like a thug. You know what I mean? Now I just cry and I be like, "But you don't want this work though." You feel me?
I feel like you still got that thug going on. You can sit here and talk about being a crybaby all you want.
What I've learned is that the most sensitive people are also the thugs, but that's why, right? Anyway, I did. It just out of nowhere, like the tears just started to fall out of my face. And I was like, and now I'm sitting here crying in an interview. But that was like the rawest moment for me because I think it was just the accumulation of all of the years, all the stuff I went through in Charlotte. And I remember he told me, he said, "Charity, you have less experience than some of the other people that we had in the pipeline. We were ready to go with our 1, 2, and 3 person. But we all really like you and we think you'll bring something different to the show. And he said, and if this works, we're going to look like geniuses. And if it doesn't, they'll say, we told you so. I said, well, let's make it work.
You needed to display that emotion in that interview too. That was part of it. None of that was a mistake.
After my dad passed, it's really made me more vulnerable. But also that's a strength. You know, I'm learning that, because a lot of times, especially as Black women, we're told to be strong. And after my dad passed, you know, I started therapy again. And one of the things I learned, I said, you know, I'm so much like him, Alicia. His passion, his fire, his fury, his trauma. And now that I'm starting to unpack my trauma and this hood trauma and hood PTSD and PTSD as a Black person, as a Black woman, all the things, I start to pull it apart. And I'm like, the difference in us is that he didn't have the tools to cope. They didn't believe in therapy. They went to church. But then also some of these churches are toxic, and the people in them and the leadership in them are toxic.
Absolutely.
So now you have church hurt on top of Black hurt. And you have to remember, he grew up in the Jim Crow South. It's just so many things. And those things are passed down from generation to generation. But what he taught me is that anything I wanted, I could have. But when I was a little girl, he sat me down. He said, listen, you a girl and you Black, and ain't nobody going to give you. You will have to work for everything you get. But a big part of peeling back the layers and healing happened after he died, because I was like, that's the thing. Like, he was so angry and he just packed it in and packed it in. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hold on to all of this baggage. I'm not going to hold on to all of this emotion. I'm not going to save people who aren't going to fight for themselves and also fight for me, because that's a whole word right there too. As Black women, we fight for everybody. Every single law that's been passed and this, that, and the third is on our backs, because we went first, and we don't get the credit for being a part of those movements. Men do, but that's a different thing. The point is that I'm just in this space where I'm open.
Yeah.
And I'm honest and I'm vulnerable, and I'm angry about the things I'm angry about, and I'm soft and sad about the things that I'm soft and sad about. Going to therapy and staying connected to God and, you know, leaning on my friends and that type of thing has helped me to just embrace myself and my emotions and the journey, and to appreciate every step of the way. And so, you know, I'm 39 and going to be 40 in January. And if I could say anything to younger people, is that it's going to be okay. Right? You live to fight another down. It's not over till it's over. You still got time on the clock.
Absolutely.
You know?
And this is exactly why I wanted to do this, because that vulnerability, that truth, everything that you just said, we need more of that. I'm so tired of us just having to be strong and show people this strength on the outside, knowing that we have everything going on the inside. Yep. I want people to say, this is what I'm feeling today. This is what I went through. This is how I need to heal. This is how I've healed. And so when I talk with my friend, we talk about this all the time. We build each other up in this way all the time. And that's why I wanted to have a conversation with my friends, because we need more of this in all of your journeys. You know, we talked about how we all have multiple different journeys within our lifetime. You just started a new one. And
girl.
I'm super proud of you for it. I can't even lie. I was a little nervous because I know. I was a little nervous. You
were. A lot of folks were, but y'all were still supportive. And that goes back to being vulnerable, because I just released that video and the feedback from a few people was, Charity, you look nervous. And I was like, well, I am nervous.
Right.
So I'm going to put it out there.
For those who have not seen the video, please tell them what journey you're on now.
And so I decided, and I made the decision for myself to have the gastric sleeve surgery back in May. That has been quite the journey, because I thought that was like an easy way out. I was one of those people, because I've been overweight my entire life, up and down. It's been my uphill battle. Lost 100 pounds in college, gained it back, womp, 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 up, down, up, down. In 2017, I was on my period for 5 weeks. My hormones were out of control. And making TV and all the things. Like we talked about social media, you would never know. My EP would send me home early. You could take a trail from our studio to my house of me pulling over to vomit. Because my body, and I don't mean like a little menstrual cycle. I mean like full force. Come to find out, I was shedding a fibroid. I also didn't know that was a thing. I know that women have fibroids, and I know that as Black women, we have a higher percentage of fibroids. I didn't know that if the fibroids were like external, that your body is so intuitive that it's like, I don't want this and I don't need it. But 5 weeks.
And there's so many people going through a lot of health things that they just don't know what it is. And it's literally fibroids. They're fighting the fibroids in their body.
So I went to see a naturopath, and he's the one, he looked at my OB thing and he was like, Charity, you said there was flesh. And I said, yeah. He said, that was a fibroid. He goes, and I could see, because it's like it's really tiny now. But if you were cycling that long, that means that your body was expelling that. But my body just changed after that. And you know me, since I've known you, I've been on this diet and worked out this way. And also, some of it is getting older, so you can't just work out and run for 3 weeks and lose 25 pounds. But then when my dad died in 2018, I noticed that he passed and I didn't eat for 3 days and they gained 10 pounds. And I know there's a thing where your body goes into starvation and all that. This was not that. Even last fall, I'm working out, busting my butt, eating well, trying IF, all the other things. And my body's like, good for you. We're not moving. And it's just going up the scale. Now I'm trimming out, but my weight just up. And then the final straw was in September of 2019. I was working out. And, I'm not a psycho workout person, but I do like boxing. I like boxing and I like weightlifting, probably because I'm good at them. And so I was at my 9-round gym and I hurt myself. And I, kind of did the rubby ball thing and my ankle was better. And then one night I was hosting an event, wore flat shoes. The next morning, woke up, couldn't walk. Hurt my tendon, was in a boot. And I'm like, now I'm doing the things. Now my weight has gotten so out of control that I can't do the things that I enjoy. It's impeding my life. And I enjoy being a plus size woman. I am body positive. But at 38, 37, 38, now 39, my whole thing was I just wanted my body back.
Right.
My knees was hurting. My back was hurting. Walking certain places was like hard. Like, no. And so I talked to my co-host about it. I talked to you and some other friends about it. Once my mom was like, daughter, she said, I'm proud of you. You've done everything your dad and I have asked you to do, you and your sisters. You live a good life. You act a little crazy, but she said, I just want you to be happy. And that's the thing is, women, we just need to be happy. It's just you and you need to be happy. So I started the process, and in May, I had the surgery. My sister came to stay with me for a few weeks. It's been hard. Again, people see me on my social working out, cute pictures and all the stuff, but they don't see the nausea. They don't, and I'm just going to be real honest. So the nausea, constipation, dry heaving, I fell down once because I was dehydrated. Like it's a thing. But what I'm learning is all of the ways that our bodies are connected. And I'm also learning, because I can't drink alcohol. I can't probably eat that much. So like, wait, my vices are gone, right? We on lockdown, so you can't go out and party. Can't nobody come in and out because I'm also high risk. I don't have anything to do but to sit with myself.
And work on yourself, right? And realize
work on myself.
Yep.
And my journal and read and sit and take baths. And I'm realizing too, yes, this quarantine situation sucks, but so many people don't like it, not because the economy and this and that, it's because they got to sit with themselves. And when you got to sit with yourself, whoo.
That is so hard to do. And you can either use the time or let it use you. I know that there was a couple of weeks up in here that I was letting the time use me, and I was depressed about it. And there was a lot of things going on, a lot of ways I had to pivot, and I was feeling sorry for the situation. I was legit depressed.
Yeah.
And, I did start therapy during this time because I was like, you need it. It is very clear. It's crystal clear that you need it. There's a reason for everything. And if I'm going to look for anything positive in this, it is working on myself.
Lost about 60 pounds now. I actually hit a new goal today because I use this app.
Yeah.
But what folks don't tell you about is the emotional side to this surgery. It's very emotional. I remember the first week, I was out walking my dog with my sister, and this other big dog came and I swooped her up, and I felt like my head be all woozy and stuff. But then I realized, like, Charity, you are not the same. Right? Like, your body is not the same. It's just those types of things. Some people regret the surgery. I have not regretted it. Now, I will say that sometimes I'm like, dang, because I can eat chicken today and then tomorrow morning try to eat it and I'm sick. I can eat a piece of bacon and some eggs in the morning and be sick and eat it at night and I'm fine. I went through 2 weeks where I was just, the smell of meat made me ready to hurl. Like, I just could not do it. I felt like the way women describe morning sickness.
Morning sickness.
You know, when they're pregnant. And I was just like, oh. And so then that sucks, because also with dating, it's like so much of our dating is like drinking and eating, and it's like, dang.
Girl, I wouldn't know, because I haven't dated in a minute. I wouldn't even know. So
well, I'd be perusing anyway.
I am going to try online dating soon. So we'll talk about that.
Child, that's a whole mess. So there are moments where you go, dang, okay. But all of that outweighs the fact that, like, I feel good in my body again. The thing is, I'm now also starting to realize how the weight was affecting my life. And I can hide in pictures. I know how to angle, you know, all the stuff. I know how to wear things that are complimentary, all of that. But I'm
friend, you're gorgeous no matter what.
Oh, wait, listen, let's be very clear.
Like, I don't even want, like, the angles and stuff, I get it, but like, like.
No. Hold on, let's be very clear. For these people trying to come at me on social, let's be very clear. Your girl is bad and she was bagging them. Let's be very clear.
Let them know.
Also, this is what this has taught me, which I wish, like, I'm going to get in real close, because I want young women to hear me.
I'm listening close.
Do you, ladies, we spend so much time trying to be what men want us to be. Tall, short, she thick, she too fat, she too skinny, big boobs, big booty, hips, this, the third, natural hair, straight hair, you know, I don't like weave, all of the things. These men don't know what the heck they want. And my thing is, I'm going to do what's best for my body, because this stage in my journey has nothing to do with men. It has nothing to do with public perception. It has nothing to do with any of it. It has everything to do with me. So what I was saying is that I realized that I was hiding in certain spaces. But I'll tell you this, week 2 of my surgery, I knew I'd done the right thing, because the dark ring around my neck had cleared up. I'm not diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have any of the things associated with obesity, and I wanted to keep it that way. But we also need to understand how our bodies hold on to pain and trauma. There's a PTSD that we have as Black people when we see all of these videos circulating. It normalizes it to everybody else, but it also ingrains in our brain that this could be you, so you need to stay in line. There's that. There's also the experiences that, let's be very clear, all Black people did not grow up in the hood, but for those of us who did, that is right there. I live here in a nice neighborhood, and when I get ready to go ride my bike, I text my family in Sacramento, and I text a local friend so everybody knows where I'm at. Because first of all, I'm a woman, and second of all, I'm a Black woman. But I also, when I hear pop, 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 I'm hitting the ground.
And also, as a person who did grow up in the suburbs, I was incessantly bullied, and I was incessantly a victim of racism over and over and over again. I had a teacher call me a Black.
Woo, child, my dad would have set that whole school on fire.
My parents did. I had a teacher, a separate teacher, bring me up in front of the class constantly to say what a bad student I was and tell my scores in front of the class. I was called on the way home out of people's windows. So I'm not trying to lessen anyone's experience.
It's just that we have
compare
trauma.
And contrast, but we have trauma.
And so I think, like, just to come full circle, that I've seen so much, and I've had to endure so much, and I've had to fight to be me. The lesson is, be you anyway. Stare whoever it is in the face who does not believe that you matter, that your existence is important, that what you bring to the table is important. Stare them in the face, be you anyway. And so to you, my friend, I think that I'm always asking God where your breakthrough is. Because there's these little pieces. There's the meetings, and there's the auditions, and there's the this, and, you know, the things that you're creating. You've always been good about that too, like creating your own and not needing other people's validation to do it. And so you say your friends are hella dope, but you're a hella dope friend. And so,
thank you.
Yeah, you're beautiful inside and out, and you got this. And I don't know what's gonna come and what's gonna happen and how it's gonna turn around, but it will.
Charity, and I know that it will. I am so thankful that God has placed us in each other's lives, because he knew we would have to uplift each other in these different ways throughout the years. We literally can relate to each other on all levels, because we've been on all the levels and supporting each other through all the levels. And I'm just so happy for you. I'm so happy that you are in a beautiful place of healing and getting back to the person that you want to feel, body, mind, and soul. Because I know you've been through a lot. We feel each other on that.
Yeah.
And
we also have the greatest shenanigans too.
We do have the greatest shenanigans. Honestly, like that's stuff we gonna be telling our grandkids. Like,
Lord,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's the stuff we gonna be telling them. Like, okay, well, one day. And I'm ready for those stories. I'm ready to tell them. Not here. Some of them
not
we
here.
Speak about right
not
here.
These days.
Yeah. But I'm so incredibly happy for you. And I'm just glad to have these conversations with my friends. These are something I'm going to keep forever selfishly, but I'm glad to share them with everyone too, because my friends are hella cool. Like they are hella cool, and they've held me down in ways that it's only from God. Our friendship is just straight from the Lord. Like he was like,
it was
all right.
all the timing too, like of all the places, like, and that's the thing, to bring it back. Tanisha said, you just need to come back here and like get back into the groove of things where you started. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go back where my old friends are and my former colleagues, yada yada, not knowing that a 6'6" blessed was finna walk through the door. You feel me? Like, and she was, as your shirt says, doing the work. You've been like building and doing the work. And so listen, you're going to reap what you've been sowing. Like, I have no doubt about that. No doubt at all.
I don't either. I have my down days, but I don't have doubt that I know I can see the blocks. I can see the building blocks. I can see it happening.
You're human. So of course you're going to have down days and you're going to feel it. Cause also it doesn't feel fair. Like you'd be like, really? I built all of this and these people is walking in what I built.
Girl.
Be quiet. Let me adjust my crown and hush.
Let me fix my hair. But I do say all that to say that my friendships, like you touched on this earlier, my friendships make it all worth it. If I didn't have that position that brought me to where I am today, of me having to stand up for myself and all of that, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. And then when I got to Oakland, you were like, I got you. Come on, let's do this. And I was like, all right, bet. We'll try it. Why not? And then we tried a whole bunch of things. Remember when we did that boot camp? We used to be hella mad in the morning at 5 a.m. You was like, I'm trying to support you, but
I ain't a 5 a.m.er. Not when it comes to working out. I'll be up, but she can't lift the weight.
The boot camp was at the they had built those luxury apartments. Now it's hella luxury.
Oh, I know exactly where you're talking about. And I've never gone back since. I've never gone back since. That was the most traumatized. Every time I go by, I shake a little bit. I'll be like, oh.
It was cold. I was like, what is we doing?
It was too much.
Oh my God.
But I'm that friend that'll be up at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And you're that friend too.
And I'll fight.
Yeah. True story. I'm so glad that you were the first person in this My Friends Are Hella Cool series.
Am I the first?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, do the first dance.
Hey.
Is it
Oh, you better do the first dance.
Excuse me, ma'am. I recall a certain 6'6" somebody being like, body roll.
Oh, girl.
All the time. We would be anywhere.
Body roll, comes out every now and then. Charity, I follow you every single day in every way because you my girl. But how are other people going to follow you? Because they need to stay up with this journey, this amazing story that you just told. So how do they stay in contact?
Yeah, you can follow me on all of my social platforms at Miss Charity Bailey. Also on YouTube as well at Charity Bailey. I'm started chronicling a little bit my journey with the gastric sleeve. I also have a new web series coming where I'm going to sit down and talk to my girls about their grief. And so this idea was birthed out of my grief for my dad. And so I'm really just going to be sitting down talking to the women who carried me. And actually, Alicia's going to be featured on one of the episodes called Daddy's Girls. So
I'm going to have a pre-cry before
Girl, listen.
And it's so needed. It is so needed. And I'm honored to be on it. And I'm so glad that you're creating it. But that's going to be a hard one for me, friends.
I know. Everybody I've talked to has said the same thing. So you're in good company, and we're just going to get together. And, you know, we can't sit around the table, but that's kind of what the concept is that, you know, when I was at my lowest point, my girls would come over, we talk on the phone, and we would just have real open, honest, vulnerable conversation. And, I mean, there's laughter, there's tears. It's just one big revolving door of emotions. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to be transparent with each other and with all of you. And then, of course, September 7th, season 10 of Right This Minute launches. Back-to-back half hours, same great show, but 10 years strong. And let me just say this. Right This Minute has done its thing. I used to watch Right This Minute in 2011 in that very apartment that Alicia is sitting in when I was filing for unemployment and food stamps and applying for jobs. And they had just launched in 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Aunt friend, that just gave me chills. Like, yeah. I'm looking at this. Girl, the apartment right now has a studio set up. This studio is set up. Like, there's creation in every part of this apartment.
Yes, it is. And we prayed over that thing before. Me, Libby, and Aviana prayed over that thing before I moved in. I'm telling you, it's coming. You just watch.
Oh, Lord knows that it is.
Yeah, but there in that very space, I used to watch the show Unemployed, and now here we are.
But thank you so much, friends. Now we're all friends. We're all cool friends. We are. That's why I wanted to do this. I have hella cool friends, and I want us all to be hella cool friends.
The more the merrier. So thank you for having me, Alicia. Yeah. And you just keep doing what you're doing and keep creating the world that you want to see, the world that you want to live in, and it's gonna be all right.
Thank you, my friend. And that's a word for you too. So
yeah, listen, I don't know what God got next, but whatever it is, I'm like,
hey,
8 in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. Y'all know about that Fred Hammond. And around. You know, in the black church, you got to go around with it. You got to, you got to hit that. And around. Oh, I can't go, my mic. And around.
Oh, well, do the halfway around. And
around.
Hey. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Katie Bailey is crazy. She's crazy in the best of ways.